need affordable care. Power to the people, power to Obamacare. Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Woolsey, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, there was a very compelling op-ed piece in the Washington Post last week by U.S. Ambassador to Afghanistan, Ryan Crocker. In it, he paid tribute to the many American civilians who are risking their lives doing important humanitarian work to bring security and stability to Afghanistan. I couldn't agree more with Ambassador Crocker that those men and women working for or contracting with the State Department or USAID are doing extraordinary work, rebuilding infrastructure, helping children to go to school, improving infant and maternal health, wiring the Afghan people to the Internet. Mr. Speaker, the burning question is this: if this work is so important, why aren't we doing more of it? The human need in Afghanistan is far greater than the resources we're devoting to the effort. For the last few years, we've had a military surge in Afghanistan, a surge that's led to more death, more violence, more instability, and more strength for the extremist and insurgent forces we're trying to defeat. What we need, Mr. Speaker, is a civilian surge. We need a great emphasis on development and diplomacy, on democracy promotion and debt relief, on peacekeeping and conflict resolution, not just in Afghanistan, but in impoverished and unstable countries around the developing world. All of this is at the heart of the smart security proposal that I've been promoting since 2004, that I introduced during the middle of the Iraq War. Contrary to the conventional wisdom we've been fed, military aggression does not advance our national security goals. It undermines them. It makes us less safe, not more. It emboldens terrorists instead of vanquishing them. We've tried it this way for more than a decade now, Mr. Speaker, and it simply has not worked. It hasn't fundamentally changed the fortunes of the Afghan people, and it hasn't driven the Taliban and other terrorist networks into oblivion. At an international conference on aid to Afghanistan this past weekend, Secretary of State Clinton said that the administration would request Afghanistan aid funding at or near levels provided over the last decade. But at or near is not enough. It comes to somewhere between $1 to $4 billion a year, which seems like a lot of money, until you realize that's what we spend on military operations in Afghanistan roughly every week or so. $10 billion a month waging a destructive war on Afghanistan that is killing civilians, but only a few $billion a year rebuilding Afghanistan and empowering civilians. That just doesn't make sense. Ambassador Crocker has pointed this out. Our priorities are totally out of whack. We can't continue on the same current destructive course, Mr. Speaker. This military occupation is failing America and failing Afghanistan. Let's finally end this war. Let's bring our troops safely home and start investing in civilian aid and other smart security initiatives. And let's do it now. And let's also expand these initiatives to prevent war around the world. Thank you. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Oregon, Ms. Bonamici, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's unfortunate that we're here once again talking about repealing the Affordable Care Act, a bill that passed almost 2 years ago and, as we all know, was recently upheld by the United States Supreme Court. We should be focusing on jobs and the economy. The repeal bill we're about to vote on isn't going to go anywhere, and we all know that. It won't pass the Senate, and it won't be signed into law. We could be doing real things to help Americans in the economy right now, but instead, here we are for the 31st time voting on the same thing. So instead of repeal, let's talk about the benefits to Americans as the Affordable Care Act is implemented. Because it will result in more people having access to health care, the Affordable Care Act will change the lives of millions of people. It will prevent more of the heart-wrenching stories, like those we all hear about the consequences of lack of access to health care. I know someone whose life would have been changed by the Affordable Care Act. Bob in Oregon lost his job, and because he lost his job, he lost his health insurance. So he got onto COBRA, and he had that expensive option for a while, but at least it gave him coverage. But then his COBRA ran out for him, just as it does for so many other people, and he was forced to live without health insurance. It was quite a risk that he had to take, and it didn't work out so well for him. Like many people without insurance, he had medical troubles, but he put off treatment, hoping for the best. In the end, though, he ended up in the emergency room, exactly what the Affordable Care Act is designed to prevent. He had surgery and was then in the hospital for almost a month. Because of the sky-high medical bills, he almost lost his home. Fortunately, he's doing okay today, but it was a very close call. This would not have happened under the Affordable Care Act, and it will not happen under the Affordable Care Act. Bob would have had access to affordable health care coverage. He would not have put off preventative care, which is covered under the Affordable Care Act. He would have seen his doctor at the first sign of a problem. He would not have ended up in the emergency room, which raises health care costs for everyone, a cost shift that the Affordable Care Act is designed to prevent. And he would not have come so close to losing his home. The benefits of the Affordable Care Act are undeniable. Already in my home state of Oregon, 43,000 young people have taken advantage of the opportunity to stay on their parents' health plans. Children can't be denied insurance because of pre-existing conditions. 54 million Americans now receive free preventative care, and that's just after 2 years. There are more and more benefits that will be implemented over the next several years. Insurers will no longer be able to discriminate against women. Insurance marketplaces called exchanges will be created to ensure that everyone has access to affordable health insurance options. And starting just next month, women will have access to free preventative health care and contraception. All of these are put into place, and as they are, more people will see how the Affordable Care Act positively affects their health and their wallets. Repealing the Affordable Care Act has no benefits. In fact, doing so would take away every single benefit I just mentioned and more. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the repeal will increase the deficit $210 billion over the next 10 years. We can all agree that such an increase is unacceptable and fiscally irresponsible. So this will mark the 31st time that the House has voted on some form of repeal of the Affordable Care Act. I hope it's the last, so we can focus more on the things that really matter. And with that, I yield back my time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentlewoman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Capter, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to talk about what is nothing less than the largest transfer of the American people's wealth from Main Street to Wall Street, the largest transfer in American history due to the fallout from the financial crisis of 2008. Banks at the heart of the crisis all got larger as their CEOs made more money, while average citizens saw their income stall or drop or be eliminated, and communities across this country hit hard by their losses. Recently, the Federal Reserve issued a startling report that showed the net worth of the average American family fell by as much as 40% during the last 3 years, but I can tell you the banks and speculators at the heart of this crisis that has hurt us all have all done better. It's really startling. The 2010 numbers set families, ordinary middle-class families, back by nearly 2 decades. America's middle class was the hardest hit. And while many families saw losses in their retirement savings, they saw their home worth go down, so many millions lost jobs, the majority of the damage nationwide was caused by the collapse of the housing market, because the largest form of savings that any family actually accumulates is in the ownership of their home. According to the Federal Reserve, the median value of Americans' stake in their homes fell by 42%, nearly half, between 2007 and 2010, to about $55,000. Those are startling figures. And while we have seen wages stagnate for the vast majority of Americans during the past 3 decades, median income fell nearly 8% in 2010 to $45,800. Our citizens are meeting the crisis, in my opinion, with great resolve and dignity. But those largely responsible for their situations have averted any real responsibility and scrutiny. Let's just take a look. The Federal Reserve actually found that only roughly half of the America's middle class remained on the same rung on the economic ladder. Most have fallen down. But as the Federal Reserve's data show, not everyone lost in the recession. The median net worth of the wealthiest among us, the millionaires and billionaires who helped cause the crisis, actually rose. Moreover, the value of some at the very top has simply been obscene. I think you'd say it's un-American. Let's take a look at the top executives on Wall Street. How did they fare when most Americans lost decades worth of their hard-earned savings? Reportedly, the chief executive officer of J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon's take for 2011 was a whopping $23.1 million. Let me pull this over. $23.1 million. That's just, you know, the take-home, not all the stock options and everything else. I wonder if he thinks that's enough. His salary went up 11%. 11% more, even though J.P. Morgan recently admitted to trading losses of over $2 billion. How would you like that job? He got paid more, the institution lost money, but of course it got bigger after the finance. It became one of the big 6. Mr. Dimon is not alone in taking home millions more, while the average American family lost much of their life savings. John Stump from Wells Fargo, well, he only earned $19.8 million for 1 year. 19.8. Lloyd Blankfein from Goldman Sachs took in $16.2 million. That's just the salary. His compensation reportedly rose by about 14.5% last year, despite a sharp decline in profits and share price during that year. Isn't that interesting? Who among us could have that kind of position? This transfer of Americans' wealth has left most communities hollowed out with abandoned homes, abandoned commercial strips, high unemployment, soaring public debts, cars that have been confiscated sitting on lots and back of banks, and weakened infrastructure across this country. When you look at this picture, you can tell there's something really wrong here. In this body, we continue to debate how to get our fiscal house in order, but Republicans have been unwilling to negotiate. Last year, we saw how House Republicans gambled with our economy. They rejected plan after plan to raise the debt ceiling and responsibly balance the budget by putting both spending cuts and revenues on the table, because they were protecting these people and their like at any cost, including those who get special tax breaks and take millions even when their companies do poorly or fail. When and why are the interests of the privileged money barons put before everyone else? House Republicans refuse to provide tax relief for working families unless we give even more tax breaks to the super wealthy. We need to get our priorities straight. We need to get our fiscal house in order. We need a smart approach that puts revenues and spending cuts on the table and focus on job creation. And we need to hold these Americans accountable for the damage they have done and let them carry a hod and bear their fair share of the burden. Mr. Speaker, I yield back my remaining time and will ask unanimous consent to place information on the record.
Without objection. The gentlewoman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. SCHAKOWSKY, for 5 minutes.
You know, I am well aware of the fact that there are many Americans, when they hear the word Obamacare, they think, oh, this somehow is a takeover of by the government of our freedom, of our health care. But I'm hoping that people will take another look now that the Supreme Court has declared this to be the law of the land and see what the advantages are for you, for individuals. What does it really mean? For example, if you're a woman, did you know that women, being a woman is like being a pre-existing condition, because over a lifetime, women pay about 48% more for their health insurance than men do. That is ended right now because of Obamacare. And did you know that if you're a woman, you're now able to get life-saving preventive services like a mammogram? You can go in now and get a mammogram at no cost because it's a preventive service under Obamacare. If you're a parent and you have a child with a disability, right now you are able to have that child insured. They cannot be excluded because they have a pre-existing condition. And of course that meant so much to the mother of Olivia. Let me just read you Olivia's mom's story. Olivia suffered a stroke at birth, and now she's 11 years old. She has multiple health issues, including epilepsy and cognitive delays and cerebral palsy. Obamacare means that Olivia can't be denied coverage based on her pre-existing condition, and there's no lifetime limit, and that's true of everyone now in America. There is no lifetime limit on her insurance coverage. And so both of Olivia's parents have switched jobs since having Olivia, and each time they switched, they had to fight to get the needed coverage for their daughter due to her pre-existing condition. Imagine the relief. They don't have to do that, and no one with a child with a disability has to do that anymore. This idea of government takeover is just not true. You will still be able to choose your providers. All the decisions you really want to make are not going to be taken away. You'll even be able to choose your insurance company. You'll be put into, if you can't afford it, into an exchange where you still get to choose a variety of insurance companies, and if you can't afford the premiums, the government will help you do that. And by the way, all members of Congress will be required to be in those health exchanges. So you won't be able to say that, oh, well, the members of Congress, they're taking care of themselves with their great health benefits, which, by the way, are the same as all federal workers. We pay our premiums, we pay our co-pays, but still, we're going to be required, we're the only Americans that are going to be required to be in those health exchanges. So you can be assured that we're going to be making sure that we're taking care of ourselves as well as all other Americans. Now under the health care, under Obamacare, my son the other day on his birthday, he's an adult, said, "Thank you, Mom. I just found out that my business," he's a small business owner, he owns a tropical fish store in Chicago. He says, "I just found out from my accountant that I received a pretty hefty tax credit because that's what's given now to small businesses under Obamacare." And so the idea that somehow small businesses are going to be hurt because of Obamacare, the opposite is true. This is right now helping small businesses with a tax cut. A couple more examples. A constituent, Jerry M., said, "My 24-year-old daughter does not make enough money to pay for individual health care. She became very ill with a throat abscess and almost died. If it weren't for Obamacare, she would not be covered under my husband's insurance plan. Then, if we had not been able to get her into an excellent hospital that saved her, she might have died." That's no longer true. You don't have to worry about that. You can stop worrying about going bankrupt over health care costs. Here's from a senior. My drugs are over $4,000 a year or more, and I hit the donut hole, meaning a gap in coverage and the senior has to pay on her own. And I hit the donut hole by July or August and have to pay 50%, but because of Obamacare paying 50%, it's very helpful to me. It probably saves me $1,200 or more a year. I'm asthmatic and each spray is, anyway, she's an example of someone who is saving money right now because of Obamacare. Take another look. I think it's really going to alleviate your worry about health care costs for your family, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Richardson, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I request to address the House for 5 minutes and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection. Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in opposition to the latest Republican attempt to repeal the Affordable Care Act and to block meaningful health care reform. The Affordable Care Act has been upheld by the highest court, the United States Supreme Court, and found that this legislation was constitutional. I rise today to stress my support of the Affordable Care Act and my opposition to the legislation brought before us today. This legislation addresses the Affordable Health Care Act, the millions of uninsured Americans. It strengthens the Medicare system. It relieves all Americans of the growing financial burden and medical costs of insurance that many find tough to bear. Now let me talk a little bit about my district in California. In the 37th Congressional District, the benefits of this bill are already undisputable. 23,000 children and 90,000 adults now have health care insurance that covers preventative services with no copays, coinsurance, or deductibles. 501 small businesses receive tax credits that helps them to maintain or to expand their health care coverage for their employees. And health care providers in my district have received $3.4 million in affordable care grants since 2010 to support community health centers, to develop innovative and cost-saving health care delivery systems, and to train our new health care professionals. These statistics are not unique to my district. There are similar success stories emerging all over the country. Let me speak a little bit about some of those general things that are happening. If you're a senior, based upon now the Affordable Care Act, you are receiving 50% discount on brand-name drugs when you are in Medicare and you experience the donut hole coverage gap. You have free key preventative services such as mammograms, colonoscopies, and a free annual well visit with your physician. If you're a woman, you now have free coverage of life-saving preventative services such as mammograms, and beginning in August, free coverage will also include additional comprehensive women preventative services, including breastfeeding support, contraception, and domestic violence screening. If you're a parent, and if you have a child who's under the age of 19, they can't be denied coverage by an insurance company because of a pre-existing condition. If you're an adult, you can now join or stay on your parent's health plan until you are 26 years old. Those are for our young adults. And if you're a small business owner, you would be one of the millions who would be eligible as a small business owner to receive tax credits if you choose to offer coverage to your employees. Mr. Speaker, the Affordable Care Act was a long overdue bill that corrects deep injustices and access to health care. The Affordable Care Act should be an act that is respected and upheld by this House. It has gone through the proper channels of legislation and now has been validated by the United States Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, all Americans, young, old, rich, and poor, have an inalienable right to health care and to be able to prosper. And to be able to prosper, you need to be healthy to do so. I ask my colleagues to support the Affordable Care Act, to join me in fierce opposition to repealing the advances in health care that we already won. And now, when we look forward, we must focus on implementing the Affordable Health Care bill and now focus on getting Americans back to work. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman yields back. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the Chair declares the House in recess until noon today.
The House wraps up morning hours.